Hey, what is up guys, Tava here, and first off I just want to say yes, you can make great film shot entirely on a GoPro. That's just a fact. GoPros are super versatile cameras, and although they are a little bit less traditional than normal, they still can record video and therefore create great films. So in this video I'm going to be giving you 5 tips that I use to make my GoPro footage look the highest quality and most professional that you can. So actually just last week I shot an entire short film on a GoPro, and you can check it out down below. But I was actually shocked at how easy it was to film. The quality and stabilization is so good on GoPros now, you can really make great cinematic films shot entirely on them. There's a lot of options you get from just having a GoPro, and I think a lot of people skip over that, which is why I'm creating this video to say that it is totally possible to make a film on it. Okay, so my first tip is to shoot flat or Protune on your GoPro. For me, this is a no-brainer, and I literally talk about this all the time. I just made a video on this, but you should try and shoot flat whenever you can because it makes it look more cinematic when you end up color grading it later. On GoPros, the setting is called Protune, and it allows you to set custom things like ISO, white balance, and you can change your color from GoPro, which is like the saturated one that you don't want, to flat, which is what I keep it on, so I can color grade and make it look more cinematic later on. My second tip is to shoot linear on your GoPro, which is basically the setting that crops in a bit, but it removes the distortion that you might see on the wide view. Although you won't always be in an opportunity where you can use this because sometimes you do need that wider field of view, shooting linear when you can helps because it helps to reduce that distortion, which makes the video end up looking less cinematic because usually you wouldn't have these big curves of the wide angle view. Also, not all the resolutions and frame rates support this setting, so you just have to kind of find which one, and if it doesn't have it, then you can work with wide or super view. So my third tip is to use slow motion and hyper smooth pretty much all the time. The GoPro Hero 7 Black, for example, has hyper smooth, which is just this insane stabilization that I have no idea how they do it, but you should always keep it on because it just makes everything look more cinematic. There's no question, just look at this clip. I'm running down a mountain and hyper smooth is on, and look how steady it is considering. I mean, it's pretty insane. Another thing that I like to do, which isn't exactly considered cinematic, is to keep my frame rate at about 60 frames per second. Why I do this is because it gives me more flexibility in post, so if I want to slow down certain segments, I have that option. Usually for cinematic footage, you're supposed to shoot at 24 frames per second, but that doesn't give me this option in post, so I like to avoid it. Besides, GoPros allow for so many different high frame rates now at high resolutions like 4K 60, it's just insane and you should really take advantage of it. Just for example, here's the same shot with hypersmooth, but now with 60 frames per second slowed down to 24. Super cinematic. Alright, so tip number 4 is to use an external microphone with your GoPro. The audio on the GoPros has dramatically improved over time, but it's still not at the point where you want to use it for things like a short film. You can use it from time to time in certain action situations and it sounds okay, but if you're actually recording audio like in a situation like this, you really just don't want to use it. It sounds really echoey and not the best. So my recommendation is actually to get an external mic for your GoPro. I myself actually don't have a microphone for my GoPro and I'd like to get one, but if I do record audio from my GoPro, I like to record it with a separate mic so I can sync up the audio and just make it sound better and more professional, because audio is one of the most important things in films, and so that makes a really huge difference. And then lastly, number 5 is something that anyone can do super easily, and it is to use the versatility of your GoPro to your advantage. Like I said before, these cameras are really versatile, and since they are so small, you can put them in lots of places that traditional cameras can't go. It's really fun to just get creative with this and take your films to a new level that usually wouldn't be possible, like putting your camera in your dresser or all these different places that I used in my latest short film, and it really helps to give a cool perspective that you usually wouldn't see, which is really what you want to be doing in films to make things more original. So with GoPros, you aren't going to get the traditional shallow depth of field like you might see with cinema cameras, and instead in setups like this it might look a bit weird with it all distorted, but you really just need to use this camera to your advantage and do things with it that you wouldn't be able to do with other cameras. One of my favorite short films shot on GoPro is called Adventure. It's actually from GoPro and it's on YouTube. I will leave it linked down below, but I just think it gives a great example on how you can do all of these things and create a really cinematic film that is shot entirely on a little action camera like this. It really opens up so many different possibilities that I think a lot of people don't realize. But anyway, that's it for today. If you found these tips helpful, please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.